Guys, big up yourselves for coming through. I tell you what, yeah, this football game is crazy. This football game is absolutely crazy. I mean, to think that, you know, I was actually putting out my, I was actually putting something on Twitter, and to think that Arsenal have actually equalised to make it 1-1 is, you know what? This is football, man. This is football. I think Man City can be happy with their performance. I thought they actually played well. They kept Arsenal at bay for the majority of the game. And to be fair, Gabriel Martinelli, what a finish! What a finish from Martinelli. You have to be happy with that finish if you're Martinelli, man, because the touch and the finish was world class, man. Big up to Sham, big up to Lumi, big up to Chris and Mark as well. And guys, as I said, you know what I mean. Do you know what? It's actually a very good game. I actually enjoyed the game. I think Man City sat in, and once they got the early goal, Erling Haaland devastating on the counter. But to be fair, Arsenal kept pressing, and I mean, Mikel Arteta got away with it. But another game against the big hitters where Arteta doesn't get the job done. And big up to Lumi, because Lumi did say a draw. Lumi, I think I'm gonna have to stop debating with you now about these results, because every time you keep telling me a result, it keeps happening. And I'm starting to think, have you got some kind of shares in this Premier League? Because every time you keep telling me the result comes through. I was absolutely stunned, I'll be honest, because yeah, I was shocked. I was shocked because I didn't see that coming. Because as I said, I think City actually played a very good game. I think they defended very well. But in the end, a bit of quality from Martinelli. And again, someone that I don't really rate that highly. But to be honest with you, he's provided a great moment for Arsenal. And I mean, what, 5 points off of Liverpool now? They got Newcastle next week, which will be a tough game at St James's Park. So yeah, man, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But yeah, I mean, Arsenal were lucky. They were. I think if we're looking at the balance of the game, and this is why I'm always going to stick by my opinion that Arsenal are not winning nothing under Mikel Arteta. Because for Arteta to go into that game knowing that he needed to win the game, and you have Eze on the bench, who's a number 10, and then you have to bring him and Saka on. Fair enough with Saka, because Saka just come back from injury. But the fact that he had Eze on the bench to go with a midfield three of Zubamendi, Rice, and Mikel Merino, this is why Arsenal won't win nothing. Although he did change it, he did change it in the second half, but Arsenal were lucky there. They were very lucky. And I think, as Sham has said, I think the winners here are Liverpool. 5 points ahead, haven't even played well. And they're the big winners here, because you would think the two biggest challengers are going to come from City and Arsenal. And again, they're 5 points ahead. I mean, if you're an Arsenal fan, are you happy with this result? Because I don't think it's a great result personally. I think Arsenal, if they went a bit more positive in the first half, playing the likes of Eze, then I think they probably would have got a better result. But they literally got lucky in that second half. A bit of brilliance, a bit of confusion in the defence from Man City as well, which is why Arsenal got away with it, really, So crazy, man, crazy. Lumi says, wasn't sure about Madueke off at half-time. He was looking threatening. But again, you know what it is, yeah? Madueke has been one of Arsenal's best attackers so far this season. But when Saka's coming on, Saka obviously plays on the right. And I was surprised he kept Trossard on, but I think he kept Trossard on because probably Trossard's defensive work on that left-hand side, But Saka and Eze both coming on did change the flow of the game, but I think City will be kicking themselves because they should have hung on to that lead, But bit of confusion in the defense. But again, you have to give it to Martinelli because Martinelli, his first touch was good, and his second touch was even better. So you have to give him the credit, really, and think what a finish that was. So again, the first goal Donnarumma's conceded, but I mean you can't really blame Donnarumma, because that was a great bit of skill from Martinelli, and fair enough. Chrism says 5 points away is the closest they'll get to the mighty Reds this season. Yeah, listen, as I said, man, before, I don't see Arsenal finishing in the top two this season. I don't. That game showed me everything. I know Arsenal they had the majority of possession, but I think it was a game plan from Man City to get the goal, sit in, and they got undone by a bit of brilliance from Martinelli and a bit of calamity in the defence at the end, because that defence actually played very well for Man City. But this is football for you, unfortunately. This is football in a nutshell, Buckwheat says, Arteta and Amorim are secret brothers. Both will fail this season, 100%. Yeah, listen. I think those two managers, Arteta and Amorim, they're two of the most luckiest managers that I've seen in a while. One, because Arteta's been there for how long he has been. And let's face it, he should have been sacked about a couple of seasons ago. And the fact that Amorim has got on this season is a laugh. So they have to be two of the most luckiest managers I have ever seen in Premier League history, I would say. For what they've served up for both their teams, two of these teams being two of the biggest teams in the Premier League, maybe the world, yeah. And they've got two managers in there that are just stealing a living, let's be honest, in terms of being managers at their clubs. I don't know if it's because these people fancy them. I don't know what it is, but it's crazy. And the fact they're still there, man, is just laughable, really. Gav, pin my above comment so it stays on screen throughout to remind viewers to like the stream. Yeah, bro, no worries, man. I'll do that right now, actually. If I can. Let me see. Yeah. Yeah, big up, Sham, man. Big up. So Chrism says VAR Arsenal had 30 plus touches in Man City's box and got nothing. And again, yeah, as I said, it's crazy, man. It is actually crazy. But I think when you produce a finish like that, that's a finish worthy of winning any game. So yeah, I think you have to give them credit, man. Guys, come on, smash the like button and sub to the channel if you're new in here. There's 13 of you watching. Smash that like button, not too much to ask. And, of course, make sure you sub to the channel if you're new in here as well. And, guys, if you got any questions, any comments, make sure you put it in. Let me know what you think about the game. Did Arsenal get lucky or did Man City have that coming? Because I think the substitutions from Pep, I know Haaland coming off. I think Haaland coming off was more of a case of just getting more midfielders on to pack it out and have Doku's pace on the break. So I can see what Pep was thinking there because he wanted to crowd the midfield. And again, it would have worked, but just this is what football's all about, man. Football just has moments of brilliance in it. And that's what Martinelli served up. That's what he served up, man. But yeah, I just don't think, well, I don't think. Arteta for me is not going to be, he's not going to get Arsenal a Premier League title based on today's display because I know people might say we got a draw in the end, but these are the kind of games that you need to be winning. The Man Cities, the Liverpools, and they've played City and Liverpool so far, and they've got 1 point. And let's just say that point they got today, it was lucky. There's been a lot of luck around, to be fair, in this weekend. You look at Man United, what happened with them against Chelsea, and then you look at City and the Arsenal game just now. So there's a lot of luck that's been going around these last couple of games. But I think on the whole, who would be the more satisfied team? I'm not too sure because I think Arsenal need to win that if they're to have any kind of ambitions of winning the title. And I think City, going away from home against a team like Arsenal, um, then I think, yeah, they might be happy. So DP says, lucky United, they dominated, you fool. Okay? So DP, I'm going to show you why you're the fool. Yeah? So make sure you listen up. So when I'm saying to you, Man United were lucky, is because Robert Sanchez made a calamity of a mistake in that first half after 6 minutes. So again, when I'm saying United were lucky, they were lucky that they had that the opposition keeper made a foolish mistake. What Robert Sanchez should have done, knowing that it's 6 minutes into the game, he should have just either let Mbeumo go through, and then if Mbeumo scores, that's the worst case scenario for Chelsea. For him to take out Mbeumo, he left Chelsea, his teammates, in a situation where the manager had to make subs. Now, the manager didn't have to take off Neto and Esteval. He could have taken off someone else. But the fact that he took off those two players meant that they had no really attacking impetus in their team for Chelsea. Then Cole Palmer got an injury as well, so he came off. So United obviously played against 10 men for the majority of the first half until Casemiro got sent off. Make sure you're listening, DP, because I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to show you why you're the fool. Yeah. So again, United played against Chelsea with 10 men for the majority of the first half. Got 2 goals. The Bruno Fernandes one. Just onside, fair enough. And then the Casemiro one was a poor clearance really from Reece James, and then Luke Shaw obviously won the header. Casemiro got the header 2-0. Then if we're looking at the fact that first half, United should have gone for the jugular, really. They should have killed off Chelsea in that first half. But you wouldn't have thought that Chelsea were the team actually down to 10 men, because it was quite an even game. Even after the first goal was scored, there was a 50-50% possession between United and Chelsea. Then the second half, obviously Casemiro gets sent off in the first half. The second half, it was even. No one can come in there and tell me that United were the better team in the second half, because they wasn't. Yeah. Chelsea get a goal back. Obviously, they get a goal through Wesley Fofana. That was ruled offside. They had a chance through Reece James as well, where Reece James put it across the face of the box. And on a different day, a Chelsea player could have been waiting and could have tapped it in. So again, United got fortunate to win that game. And if you think United deserved to win that game, then I'm sorry, you're the fool, because they played against 10 men. If the game was even, 11 against 11, I truly don't think United win that game. So we can be happy with the 3 points that United got. But when you're saying United dominated the game, well, you should dominate the game against 10 men. Like, you're the fool for thinking otherwise. If you think that a team that's got 10 men shouldn't be dominated against a team of 11. When it was 10 versus 10, show me who dominated the stats in that. Because you'll find very quickly that United didn't dominate the game when it was 10 versus 10. And not to mention, Chelsea were always chasing the game because United were 2-1 up. So again, there's loads of factors in the fact that United won the game. They were 2-0 up. Chelsea's goalkeeper got sent off. But I'm happy with the 3 points, because the 3 points was needed, because United was 17th coming into the game. But if we're going to start saying now they dominated the game and we're happy with that, again, up your standards, man, because this is part of the problem. Big up to Barbara Joseph as well. Big up to Broderick. Happy Sunday, man. Yeah, big up. Blue Moon Tiger says, absolutely disgraceful from Pep playing for a draw soon as we score. I mean, it's difficult, really, because Blue Moon Tiger, because I actually think, Man City's game plan was actually done well, because I think if City would have tried to play through Arsenal, especially at the Emirates, they could have been caught out. So I think the fact that they got the early goal and then they sat in, sometimes you got to go to opposition grounds and just hang in there. Sometimes you got to do that. And again, if City would have won the game, I think everyone would have said, you know what, City actually played that game well. I think it's only because Arsenal got the goal in the end. You know, people are going to be looking at Pep and looking at City as, you know, 2 points dropped. But again, we have to give credit to Gabriel Martinelli, because did I think Martinelli could do that? I didn't. But I think in the end, you know, he produced a great finish, and yeah, man, it is what it is. A draw at the end of the day. But I think if we're being serious, Arsenal should have gone into that game to win. You know, he should have started Eze. Fair enough, you know, Saka on the bench, come out from injury, but Eze should have started in that 10, definitely. And I think if you put Eze in there from the start, who knows, that game could have gone a very different way. Notification says, did the court let you back online, or you sneaking on your neighbour's Wi-Fi again? Well, notification, if you're still watching, man, listen, you're watching me, man, not the other way around. You're not forced to be here, man. So if the channel's not for you, then you can bounce, man. Get out of it. You know, you're not forced to be here. Big up to Robin from Ugandan Kampala City. Big up to Robin, man. Big up. Guys, if you're an Arsenal fan, let me know what you think of today's game. Or if you're a Man City fan, let me know if you think City were unlucky. Or let me know if you think Arsenal got away with one today. Let me know. Broderick says Pep ain't the same. I mean, it's difficult. I think what we need to realise about Man City haven't got the kind of players they used to have. You know, you think of what Pep used to have, the likes of Riyad Mahrez, Kun Aguero, you know, even De Bruyne in his peak, David Silva, Yaya Toure, you know. He hasn't got players like that can turn the game on its head, you know, or see out a game. You know, again, Jeremy Doku had a very good game today, but he's not a Pep Guardiola type of player, you know. So Pep's having to adapt to his players a lot of the time as well. You know, I think him bringing on Nico Gonzalez for Erling Haaland, again, when you bring on, and this is the same thing that Amorim done yesterday. When you take off a striker and bring on a midfielder, it lets the other team know that you're looking to hold on to a lead. That's what it does. And I think the fact that he took Haaland off, whether Haaland had an injury or not, I'm not too sure. But I think if Erling Haaland stays on the pitch, that might alter Arsenal's mentality in terms of knowing that they've got someone that can threaten him behind. And this is one of the things. But I just don't know. You know, I think the finish from Gabriel Martinelli, you know, I think we have to look at that and think that was a moment of brilliance. It was. So whether Pep taking off Haaland or not, that finish from Martinelli, he still had a lot to do, you know. So, but again, I think some people need to realise the mentality of taking off a striker, you know, because it lets the other team know that you're looking to defend. And then, again, the momentum changes. And this is what I think... This is what I think the problem was. So Broderick says false 9 City was the best City. I agree. I think as great a goal scorer and devastating that Erling Haaland is, I think the fact that when they play Marmoush in the 9, they actually play better football because Marmoush gets more involved in the game. And if you think that Marmoush is out injured, Ryan Cherky's out injured, Ait Nouri's out injured, I think those 3 players, if they were available to Pep today, City probably go on and kill that game, in my opinion. They probably go on and kill that game. So Sham says, if Doku isn't a Pep type player, why did City get him? Good question, Sham. And I think the reason why City got Doku is because of the pace. If you look at City's team, yeah, City buy a lot of ball players. So they probably got Doku in because Doku's something different to what they usually have. And I think what it is with Doku, and again, Doku has been improved. The last 3 games Doku's played, he's played very well. You know, he played well against Man United, he played well against Napoli, and he played well today against Arsenal. So maybe the pennies dropped with Doku, but there's no doubt in that Doku's not a pet player, but he offers the pace that City don't really have usually through their team. I think if you're looking at City's team with just that has real pace in the attacking areas, you're looking at Erling Haaland. He's probably the only one. Savinho as well. And then you've got Doku. So this is why he's a bit of an anomaly for City really, because he's not a Pep type player. Let's be honest. Cash Vuitton says, "Are you a Man United fan, bro?" I am. I'm a Man United fan, and I also like Barcelona as well. But I'm well versed in whatever team you want to talk about really in Europe. So big up to Cash Vuitton. So Enko Sinamfi says, "Thanks, brother. I'm from South Africa. I like his accent and watching with my brothers here." Yeah, big up, man. Big up for coming through. As I said, man, if you guys got any questions or comments to make sure you put that in the chat. And as always, if you're new in here, make sure you sub to the channel and check out all the other content. And make sure you smash that like button as well. Guys, when you smash that like button, it helps the channel to grow. So it helps it get seen by other people. So again, if you are enjoying the content and you're enjoying the discussion, just smash that like button and obviously sub to the channel as well. Yeah, big up to Cash Vuitton, man. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. I was surprised that Saliba come back in. I didn't think Saliba would have been fit, but I think personally it's a bit harsh to leave out Mosquera because Mosquera has been very good. But again, needs must really. When you're going into a big game like this, I think, you know, against Erling Haaland as well, you're going to want to have your strongest partnership, man. So I can see why Arteta brought Saliba back, you know, but I think it was more concerning when Haaland broke from that midfield spot where he got his goal, and then you see Gabriel was struggling to get back at him, and then Saliba obviously was more attracted to the ball because Reinders had it. So yeah, I think it's one of them things, man, where I think Mosquera can find himself hard done by being left out, but again, I think he's given Arteta, you know, a conversation to have now, because does he keep faith with Saliba and Gabriel partnership, or does Mosquera get more game time? I think Saliba and Gabriel is the favourite partnership, and rightfully so. But I think Mosquera is going to give Arteta problems to give him more game time, because to be honest with you, he's done nothing wrong since he's come in, you know. Nokis Sanamfi says, "My favourite team is Arsenal, best team in the Premier League for sure." I think you've been drinking there, Nokis Sanamfi. I think you've been drinking, man. The best team in the Premier League. Nah, I wouldn't say that, man. I think right now you have to say it's Liverpool. You know, 5 out of 5. 5 points clear at the top of the table as well. And I think City have dropped off, man. But I do believe City, you know, they are going to go on a bit of a run. You know, this game, they'll be kicking themselves, really, because they should have seen this game out. And then, you know, that would have been 5 points, 6 points, I think, off of Liverpool. But I do believe they're going to get into a flow. You know, I'm not sure who their next game's against. So, yeah, man, listen, there's loads more games to play, man. What we now? What, 5 games in? You know, there's loads more games to play, man. So I think there's going to be up and downs, man. But definitely Arsenal not the best team in the league. For no way, man. No way. No way. Yeah, definitely not the best team, man. But guys, let me know what you think of. Who do you think was man of the match today? Who do you think was the best player on the pitch? For me, I thought GavGoesIn was very good today. I know people might look at him and Ake as the reason why Martinelli got his goal, but I thought GavGoesIn was good. I thought Kusanov, when he was on, was very good. I'm not sure if he went off for injury. Rodri was very good as well, patrolling that midfield. And you can see what a difference Rodri makes as well to this Man City team. So for me, Kusanov, GavGoesIn, Rodri for Man City. I thought Doku was good. Haaland got his goal. Foden was non-existent. And this is what I mean about Phil Foden. Phil Foden's a very good football player, but there's too many games that pass him by. And this is why I think he's going to have a struggle to get a place in the England team, because these are the kind of games where Phil Foden's got to show why he's Phil Foden. And I think too many times, as we know, Manchester Derby, Foden always shows up in the Manchester Derby, whether it's a goal or an assist. But today, he was non-existent, and this is the problem with Phil Foden. But I thought Donnarumma was good, very good. I think Donnarumma couldn't really do much with the goal. It was a great finish. I think who else was there? Diaz. I think the whole defense. I thought Nico O'Reilly at left back was very good. He dealt with Madueke and Saka, comfortably. Nunez, when he come on, was decent. Bernardo Silva, again, when I watch Bernardo Silva now, like Bernardo Silva for me used to be an absolute technician. I look at Bernardo Silva now and he's just a workhorse. And again, he's just someone that, he just makes a lot of fouls now from what I'm seeing. He's someone that has got quality, man, but he's been turned into a complete workhorse by Pep, man. And it's annoying to see, really, because, this was a guy that come in as a pure number 10 and he's been turned into an absolute workhorse, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I thought there wasn't really no bad performances from City players, really. I thought there was standouts, the likes of, as I said, I thought Doku was good. I thought GavGoesIn was good. I thought Rodri was good, and I thought Kusanov was good. I think they were the standouts. Arsenal, who played well for Arsenal? I thought, let's start off who played badly. I think Gyökeres, yeah. I think Gyökeres to me looks like a bricklayer. No disrespect to bricklayers, yeah. But he looks like a bricklayer that's just discovered playing football recently. Because, again, another game where against the top teams, the guy is nowhere to be seen, And, again, Gyökeres is... he just ain't a good player, man. He's very physical. But in terms of what Arsenal need, I'm just not sure, man. Because when the big games come around, that's 2 games now against Liverpool and Man City, and against Man United, where he's just been nowhere to be seen. As I said, he looks like a bricklayer to me. That's just discovered playing football. That's the honest truth, man. I think he's a poor player, Gyökeres. I don't really rate him at all. And thank God Man United never signed him. So yeah, I thought he was poor. I think in terms of attack, I thought Madueke was their biggest threat. Trossard was in and out of the game. Declan Rice does what Declan Rice does. There's no frills and spills with Declan Rice. I think he just wins the ball back and just plays it. For 100 million, is that acceptable? I don't think so. Zubimendi, kept the ball ticking. I think the defense, Gabriel and Saliba, I think they were pretty concerning in the sense of how Erling Haaland just breezed past Gabriel, and then Saliba got too attracted to the ball. I know he was trying to hold off Reinders, keeping Reinders off, but the danger was Erling Haaland, so he should have probably gone with the run a bit more. Calafiori and Timber, I thought they had a decent game. David Raya the same. Eze, gave them a bit of an attacking threat. The same with Bukayo Saka as well. So yeah, I think they were a difference. But yeah, I think on the whole, there wasn't really too much to write about in terms of the performances from the Arsenal players. I think Arsenal got lucky. I think Martinelli, as I said, just provided that moment of brilliance to save the game for Arsenal. And that's what I would say, man. Let's go through some of the comments. Big up, guys. 24 of you in there. 6 likes. Smash the like button if you're enjoying the content. And again, if you're new in there, make sure you sub to the channel. So, Enko Sinafi says, Arsenal have the best players. I like them all, not taken from Liverpool, but Arsenal surprise everyone and for real and take the league. Yeah, I think I don't know what you're smoking in South Africa, Enko Sinafi, man. But big up. But when you're saying Arsenal have the best players, what best players are these? Because if we're looking at Liverpool, yeah, is David Raya better than Alisson? No. And let's look at Liverpool because Liverpool are top at the moment. So when we're saying they've got the best players, is David Raya better than Alisson? No. Urian Timber, does he get in at right back? You'd probably say Urian Timber gets in at right back. Does Calafiori get in at left back? No. Gabriel and Saliba, are they better than Van Dijk and Konate? It's a tough one, but I think Konate and Van Dijk will probably just edge it ahead of Saliba and Gabriel. And again, it's nothing in it, but you'd probably take Van Dijk and Konate. Midfield, Gravenberch or Zubamendi in the roles they play. Gravenberch. McAllister or Declan Rice. Alexis McAllister. Who played today? Mikel Merino started, yeah? So we'll start with the players that started. Mikel Merino or Szoboszlai. I think you have to say on form this season, Szoboszlai, in terms of what started yesterday for Liverpool in the Merseyside derby. Then we go to Salah or Madueke or Saka. Salah. On the left-hand side, Cody Gakpo or Trossard or Martinelli. Cody Gakpo. Then you go Gyökeres or Isak or Ekatike. There's no point even talking about it because you take either one of them, Isak or Ekatike. They're ahead of Gyökeres. So when you're saying they have the best players, I highly disagree. You know, there's probably only one player that might get into Liverpool's team. And that's probably Urian Timber at right back. Everyone else, I don't. I mean, would I have Eze in there? I would, definitely. But where's Eze going to play? Because is he going to play in the 10? I know Wirtz hasn't been great, but Szoboszlai's been decent, and they might play a 3. So again, when we're saying they've got the best players, I disagree massively because, again, you can rate your team, but when we start saying Arsenal have the best players, that's not true. Come on. So please also try to watch our league in SA. We also have good teams. We try reaching the Premier League level in South Africa. Oh yeah, listen. I know some of the teams in South Africa. Orlando Pirates. That's what I know at the moment. I know there's a few others. I forgot. Is it Ajax Cape Town as well? They've got. To be fair, I don't really watch South African football, but I know there's a couple teams out there. Orlando Pirates being one of them. You know. So this season is for Arsenal. Just give it time, brother. But you are right. Doku is dangerous. We call Madoko this side. Enko Sanafi, I'm going to ask you a question, yeah? I'll ask you a question. Do you think it's right that Arteta is still in charge of Arsenal in his 7th season, having won one FA Cup, which wasn't with his team? Do you think it's acceptable that he's still in charge of Arsenal? What do you think? What do you think, Enko Sanafi? Do you think Arteta deserves to still be there? Because, to be honest with you, I think Arteta should have been sacked a couple of seasons ago. I think there's no denying that Arteta has taken Arsenal a bit closer to the title. But let's face it, man, they're never going to get over the line with this manager. That's a fact. So, yeah, let me know what you think. So, Ladani Lou says City did this last time with Stones last year. Did what last time? I think Arteta still deserves to be there because he's building that team. He hasn't dropped that much. But again, how long do you give him? Because if we're looking at all the teams in the Premier League, you would probably say that Arsenal have the most what's the word? He's been there the longest to have the best team in terms of stability. But yet he hasn't got over the line. So at what point, Enkis and Amphi, do you think that the time will be to pull the plug on Arteta? Do you think? Because I've got a friend I spoke to the other day, and he said to me, and let me know if you agree with this. Yeah, he said to me that if Arsenal finish outside the top two, he'll be happy to keep Arteta, which I think is crazy because and big up to Royan Campbell. Again, when Arsenal don't win, Royan Campbell's nowhere to be seen, and the same with Waka. If you guys are in the chat, let me see you guys because it was all good when Arsenal won the other week. You know, you guys were in the chat, but then when Arsenal lose or draw, you guys are hiding. So as I said, let me know where you guys are. Big up to Hazrim and Bowman as well for coming through. So as Sham said, it's been 6 years. How long is this process to win the league? Big up to Sham. That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. So this is the last season for him. Of course, he must deliver. You know what, Enko Salamfi? Big up yourself, man, because you're probably the first Arsenal fan that I've spoken to that is realistic. You know, even though I disagree to a point saying it's his last season because it should have been a couple of seasons ago. But the fact that you're saying he must deliver this season or he has to go, that's fair enough because there's still people out there that still back Mikel Arteta, which is crazy. You know, they still back Arteta, and as I said, I think these are the fans that don't uphold the standards. You know, I think a lot of Arsenal fans today will be thinking, you know what, we got a draw against Man City. I think if you're serious, you should be looking at this game as 2 points dropped. Because being at home, and again, you guys have to go to the Etihad as well. But being at home and for large parts of the game being 1-0 down and then nicking a draw right at the end. If you're an Arsenal fan, you know, you have to be pissed off, I would say, you know. And this will see where the standards are because if you're an Arsenal fan and you're satisfied with the draw, this is why Arsenal won't win anything. Because you can't be satisfied with a draw after that, to be honest with you. You know, these are the kind of games Arsenal need to be winning. You know? But I agree with you, man. He has to deliver. Has to. And when you're saying he has to deliver, I think personally it has to be either a Premier League title or a Champions League. I think the Arsenal team that's been built by Arteta have gone past the period of FA Cup and Carabao Cup. I think those trophies there, that's not what this team should be aspiring to for the amount of money that's been spent on it. I think they have to be looking at Champions League or league title. And in my opinion, they're not going to win either. So, yeah, that's it. That's what I think personally. Let me know if you disagree or agree. So I still believe he got it, just that little luck, because if you watch Arsenal, they play good football all season and still come second. But again, Enko Sanamphi, I think this whole coming second, why is that looked at as a prize? I don't get that. You know, the way that I look at second place, yeah, second place just means you're the first loser. You know, and when we're saying they play good football, there's plenty of teams that play good football. Brighton play good football. You know, City play good football and they win. You know, there's loads of teams that play good football. But again, getting over the line is a different story. And I think a lot of Arsenal fans would prefer, you know, to just get over the line rather than seeing them play good football and come second. And as I said, you know, I personally think they don't finish in the top two this season, Arsenal. I don't think they finish in the top two. I mean, you guys are going to Newcastle next week. And as I said, man, I think yeah, I'll be very interested to see how that game goes because it's not going to be easy. You know, Newcastle got a draw today, 0-0 draw against Bournemouth, which won't be easy as well. And you know, going back and again, they rested Bruno Guimaraes, they rested Joe Linton as well. Um, who else didn't play? Anthony Gordon didn't play either. So those guys there, um, those guys there will be raring to go for this next game. So as I said, man, I think that's going to be a tough game for Arsenal, and those are the kind of games that Arsenal need to be going to St James's Park and winning. You know, those are the kind of games. So look at what Liverpool done. Liverpool went there and won. You know, they went there and won. So that's what Arsenal need to go and do. Big up to Jareel Creole says Gunners need that Reyes spirit. Yeah, man. Jose Antonio Reyes. What a player, man. Can't believe he actually passed, man. Crazy. Crazy. But yeah, listen, man, it's crazy. So sure you are on point. He made the outsider more comfortable at the Emirates. Not sure what that means. Samdino Samura. I'm not sure what that means, that comment, but big up yourself. Guys, come on. Only 6 likes, guys. Smash the like button if you're in there. And make sure you sub to the channel as well if you're new. So Gunners forever. I still believe in that club. I'm surprised Arsenal and Pakistan cricket team's not in there. I'm surprised he's not in there either. Oh, is Gordon suspended? Big up to Broderick. Is Gordon suspended for the Arsenal game? I know he didn't play today, but what was it? Was it 2 yellows or was it a straight red in his previous game? Because I think he might be back against Arsenal. Yeah, listen, Sham, they're all hiding, man. All them Arsenal fans are hiding. That's what I mean. This is why Arsenal will never win, because it's all well and good when they win games. They want to come into the chat and chat rubbish, but as soon as they lose or draw, you know, or they nick a draw, these guys are hiding, man. And this is Arsenal fans for you. This is Arsenal fans for you. Newcastle are a bit shite this season. I mean, I hear it, but at home, you know, they're a problem at home. You know, that crowd behind them, they're not an easy team to be at home. I mean, if anyone watched the Barcelona and Newcastle Champions League game, you know, that was a tough game for Barca. But in the end, you know, a wonder strike from Rashford, you know, won the game. But that won't be easy going away to Newcastle for Arsenal. Do you think Arsenal B team can beat Man United's A team? Good question. Do I think their B team can beat Man United's A team? I mean, I'll have to say, under Ruben Amorim, anything's possible, man. Because who knows? Who knows? Who knows, man? I would probably say no, but I'm not confident saying no. Put it that way, because anything's possible when you've got Ruben Amorim in charge of Manchester United. That guy's an absolute disgrace to what he's been doing. So what do you mean we'll never win? So what I'm saying, Jareel, is that for me, Arsenal will never win the Champions League or the league title under Mikel Arteta. It's been proven for 6 years. So, yeah. Newcastle won't be that much of a problem considering how they played this season. We taking it. Well, listen, we'll have to wait and see, man, because there was a lot of fans saying that they'll win today's game, and they got lucky at the end to get a draw. So I don't think it's, you know, a foregone conclusion saying that they go to Newcastle and win, because Newcastle at home are very strong. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. I've not seen Rinser and that Wacker guy who said Arsenal will beat Liverpool by 3 goals. Haven't seen them in weeks since we beat them. Yeah, but again, man, listen, Sham. This is what these guys do, though. You know, this is why Arsenal always fail for me because their fans are the most deluded fans I've ever seen. As I said, I got a very good friend who's an Arsenal fan, and he had the cheek to tell me that if Arteta finishes outside the top two, he'll still keep him. He'll look at that as a blip. And this is what I'm trying to say to you. These guys are always to be seen when Arsenal are winning games, but then when they get beat or lose, when they get beat or draw, these guys are very quiet, man. So no doubt, if Arsenal beat Newcastle and I'm live, these guys will be back in the chat just talking. This is what happens, you know. Big up to Glenn Carragher says Arsenal are the most negative side on the planet. I agree. And this is why I'm saying to you, yeah, Arsenal will never win nothing because for him to start Eze on the bench against Man City, people might think, he's packing the midfield out. He wants to be more competitive in there. This is why you lose titles because in games like this, you have to show intent. And the intent would have been you start Eze. You play Eze, if you want to play Trossard. Again, Saka was injured. But the Eze on the bench didn't make any sense because you need to go and win that game. And again, this is why, showing a bit of bravery goes a long way. And this is why Arteta, for me, will never be, he'll never be the manager that Arsenal need to get them over the line, Okay, so Anthony Gordon's out then. I didn't even know that. So that means against Newcastle, they're going to start with Elanga, Barnes, and what's his name? Walter Marder. What's happened to Vissa? Is Vissa still is Vissa out injured? When's he back? But I think Bruno Guimaraes, Joe Linton being rested, that was key for them. So it'll be them two and Tonali in the midfield. So yeah, listen, that'd be a tough game for Arsenal. WXMF says Chelsea owned United that second half. But again, WXMF, yeah, I'm a Man United fan, yeah, and I'd always give my honest and true opinion. There's a lot of Man United fans that don't really care that Chelsea, were the better team in that second half, even though they were chasing the game. Because a lot of fans are they're more interested in being proven right with Ruben Amorim. I'm not here to be proven right with Amorim. I know I'm going to be right because I've seen too much football to know this manager's not doing anything serious at this club. And then when you're thinking that they got the result yesterday against Chelsea, fair enough. 3 points is 3 points, and I'm happy with that. Yeah. But the problem is that people are very short-sighted. I look at the bigger picture. The bigger picture was, if it was 11 versus 11, I don't think United win that game because United didn't really create any clear-cut opportunities yet again. Chelsea, in the end, you'd probably say they were quite unlucky to not get a draw, because when Casemiro got sent off, the game was even. So, yeah, Chelsea were the better team. They were the better team. Who's timing out my... Amorim is out of his depth. He is. Big up to BLK Ham. He is out of his depth. He is out of his depth. But we spoke about that yesterday, man. It's just... it's one of them things. He survived again, Ruben Amorim. He has survived again, unfortunately. So which fixture would Amorim be out by? So again, I did say this... I did say this the other day. The Chelsea game was his penultimate game because it was a case where if he didn't beat Chelsea, then I believe him against Sunderland or Brentford, which are going to be tough games, I think that would have been the next fixture where he would have had to have won or he might have been out. I think the fact that he scraped Chelsea, he now has to go and beat Brentford, because I think if he doesn't beat Brentford, that Chelsea game is irrelevant now. And then going to the Sunderland game at home, if he's still there. Yeah, I'm put it this way, yeah. The next two games he has to win for me. He has to. Because a lot of these fans that are backing Ruben Amorim, you know, I think if United don't beat Brentford and Sunderland, I think even they will be saying, yeah, it's not good enough. So again, let's just focus on these next two games, which Amorim has bought time again. But these next two games, he has to win, man. He has to. Scott Bramwell says, haha, we above City. We're not, Scott. We're not. I'm not sure where you're getting that from, but we're not. City are ninth, and Man United are, I believe, top of the bottom half. So yeah, I don't think United are above City. Yeah, so we're getting linked to Southgate. If Amorim gets the sack, we're getting a downgrade. Big up to BLK Ham. Listen, we're not getting Southgate, bro. This Southgate talk is nonsense. Like, if you actually think Man United are going to get Gareth Southgate, then I'm sorry, man. Like, give your head a wobble, man. Because Man United are not getting Southgate. They're not. They're not. That's just talk. You know, maybe Sir Jim, maybe Southgate might be one of the names that they were looking at, but there's no way Man United are going to hire Gareth Southgate. They're not going to do that. So don't be getting panicked about that. Man United are not hiring Gareth Southgate. They're not. You know, so I'm not even going to entertain that. There's no reason for them to hire Southgate, and it makes no sense. So it's not going to happen. Which manager do you fancy? I don't fancy no managers because I'm straight. So I don't fancy no manager. So let's get that out. But what manager would I like to come and manage Man United? Again, I've said this so many times. You know, my favourites are the likes of Zidane and Xavi for different reasons. You know, the respect that those two would command in terms of what players they were like, what kind of players they were. You know, I think Zidane's more of an unrealistic one in a sense that he would probably need a team that's already made for him to come in and thrive. Xavi's free, and the way Xavi played football, I can only imagine he would come and do that at Man United. So he's one. If we're looking at Premier League proven, I think there's no surprises in the sense of Iraola and Oliver Glasner for me. You know, as I said, listen, there's managers out there that I would like. There's probably managers that are in jobs at the moment. I just want a manager that comes in and plays good football and plays the best players. When we're looking at Joshua Zirkzee, who didn't even get a minute yesterday, like, that's a failing on the manager and that's a failing on the club. I don't care what anyone says, because players of that ability shouldn't be rotting on the bench for other players. The fact that Mason Mount and Matthias Cunha, two players that Matthias Cunha, who I rate, yeah, the fact that those two come off for injury, and come onto the pitch, and Zirkzee didn't, it clearly shows you this manager doesn't rate Zirkzee. But it's the same thing. He doesn't rate Zirkzee. He doesn't rate Kobe Manu, two of the best footballers at the club. So this is why I want the manager out, because until a manager comes in and plays the best players and plays a cohesive attacking brand of football, you know, I'm just not here for it, man, to be honest. Scott says Zidane wouldn't touch this club. I think what it is with Zidane, Zidane's just in a situation right now where he's comfortable, because I think by all accounts, from what I heard, he's getting paid very good money, you know, and his reputation is at the top in terms of management. You know, how many Champions Leagues did he win with Real Madrid as manager? Did he win like 3 or 4 or something like that? So he needs to go to a club where everything's probably set for him in a sense, you know, whereas this Man United team is not at the level. And that's why it's looking like a bit of a long shot to get him. But, you know, this is what United need to be showing. They need to be showing the likes of Zidane, the likes of Xavi, that they're a team that's going in the right direction. And at this moment in time, on the pitch, they're not. So, it is what it is. Sam Dino says, I mean, if you want to be king in the jungle, you have to bite big animals to scare the small one. We haven't bit any big animal yet, so I don't trust the process for now. Yeah, big up to Sam Dino, man. That's a great analogy, you know. That's a great analogy. And that's exactly what I'm saying. If Arsenal want to win the Premier League, games like this at home against Man City, yeah, you have to go and win these games. If there's any Arsenal fan that thinks it's acceptable to get a draw at Man City, this is why they won't win the league. Because if that was Liverpool playing Man City, Liverpool was set up to go and win that game, you know. But Arsenal set up to not lose, you know, and that's what they done against Liverpool, you know. They set up to not lose, and then they got beat anyway. Um, um, so yeah, as I said, man, it's just crazy. Um, let's see. So we need Xavi and his decades of La Masia exposure. This team needs coaching. I agree, Broderick, man. Big up. I agree. I think the positive with Xavi as well is I'm looking at Xavi as more of an LVG kind of manager, in the sense where LVG had the youth team, you know, he had the first team all playing the same way, and he was doing it with youngsters as well. So I'm looking at Xavi as, you know, the kind of player that he was, you know, the fact that he brought through a lot of the youngsters. If you look at who Xavi brought through at Barca when he was manager, you're looking at obviously Yamal, you're looking at Gavi as well, you're looking at Pau Kabasi, all Alejandro Balde, all these guys are in the first team for Barcelona, and there's probably a couple of more as well. So this is why I'm looking at Xavi, because we need to be bringing in, you know, some youngsters that are quality to be in the first team, and more importantly, playing the best technical players. You know, this team does need coaching, and quite clearly, Ruben Amorim's not that, which is why I'm not referring to Amorim as a coach no more. You know, I'm just referring him to Ruben Amorim, or manager. He's not a coach for me, and this is why I thought he was brought into Manchester United in the first place, to be a coach, which he's not. Facts, and he subbed our striker was a good outlet to create chance. And again, BOKM, yeah, this is what I said today about Pep Guardiola. Even though I could see what Pep was doing, yeah, but when you sub off a striker, it gives the momentum to the other team, because they now know that you're trying to hang on and you're trying to play the game out, or see the game out. And if you look at when Amorim took off Sesko to put on a midfielder, it's like you're now letting Chelsea know that you're looking to just defend your lead, and it creates the wrong kind of mentality. So yeah, it's an issue, man. Zidane is like Pep. He needs a ready-made squad to thrive. I disagree with that to an extent. Whether people like it or not, Pep is a manager that has come into teams where they've had the money, they've had good players. You can't blame him for that. Sometimes, you know, you're just born into these things, or you're just in that situation. You know what I mean? So with Zidane's a bit different, because Zidane picked up a Real Madrid team that had pure winners in there and world-class players. So it is what it is. But there ain't many managers in world football that can take a team from the bottom to the up. And with Manchester United, Man United right now have good players. But the problem is, this system is what is not allowing these players to flourish. I don't care what anyone says. This system is not allowing these players to flourish. So what needs to happen is a change of manager just needs to come in, and all of a sudden you're going to see the team on the up. I promise you. I know this for a fact, because when I keep saying the 4-2-3-1, if I was to tell you this team of whoever's in goal, Lemens or Bayinde, then a back four of Mazraoui right back, Yoro and De Ligt centre back, and then Patrick Dorgu left back. Already, you've got a back four there that is solid. You've got two centre backs in De Ligt and Yoro, you know, who are competitive, have pace, and are good in possession as well. You've got Patrick Dorgu at left back. Again, he's still young, and I'm likening Patrick Dorgu to an Alphonso Davies type left back. You know, someone that's got physicality and pace, and someone that can be United's answer to Alphonso Davies at left back. Right back, Mazraoui's got the experience, you know, and Mazraoui's solid as well. And then you got Dalot that can back him up, and Dalot will be better as a right back anyway. Then you move into midfield with what we've got already. The two in midfield, Casemiro will play for me, And Casemiro's responsibilities will be different because the 3-4-2-1 that Amarim's playing is killing Casemiro. But if you play Casemiro and then you play a Kobe Manu next to him, I think you're going to get a better Kobe in a different system. And I think you'll get a better Casemiro as well. And then the front four is where it gets interesting for me. And I will play Mbuemo from the right, Ahmad in the 10, Cunha on the left, and then Xerxes as a striker. I want to see a team being picked like that. And I can guarantee you, if you play that team, for 5 games, I guarantee you'll see better football, and then you'll see better results as a factor as well. And then again, you're gonna have players on the bench that can come on if things ain't going too well. But the fact that we haven't got a manager that wants to be brave and do that, which is why I just don't rate this system and rate this manager in who he picks. Simple as that. Zidane, sorry, bro, why are you putting it? Okay. Taboho Shabalala. All right, listen, Taboho. That name there, Shabalala, that's one of my good mates. That's one of my good friends, man. That's his surname. That's mad, So I'm guessing you're from Zimbabwe, man. Big up. So do you think we can win the league? Do you believe we would win the league? Who's that, Shabalala? Is that Man United or Arsenal? Let me know, man. Ballon d'Or tomorrow, Dembele's favourite. What's your opinion? So yeah, listen, I've touched on this plenty of times with the Ballon d'Or. For me, the 2 front runners are Yamal and Dembele. Now, this is the last time I'm gonna obviously speak on this. If it's tomorrow, who do I think wins it? I think Dembele wins it, and I'll tell you why. Because if we're looking at the best player is Yamal, yeah? And Yamal had good numbers as well, and he's the best player. The reason why I think Dembele wins it is because Dembele won a Champions League and he had good numbers as well. So if you're winning the Champions League, you win your league title, what did he win? He won 4... Did he win 3 or 4 trophies this season? Last season, Dembele. And I think if we're looking at the Nations League as well, if Yamal or Dembele would have won that, which fine enough, neither one of them won it, then I think that would have secured it. But for me, I think Dembele wins it because of the Champions League and the numbers. Me personally, I'd give it to Yamal because Yamal's the best player in the world for me. But I think Dembele will win it purely because of the Champions League and the numbers that he produced, which I don't have a problem with. Again, Rafinha deserves a shout as well because he had mad numbers. But I think he's in the same situation as Yamal, where his numbers were better than Yamal's, but neither one of them won the Champions League. Whereas Dembele had good numbers and won Champions League. So, yeah, so personally, I think Yamal should win it. But I think Dembele will. But yeah, shout out to Rafinha. And then again, Mo Salah had mad numbers, but only won the league title. So he's in the same boat as Rafinha and probably Yamal. So I think Dembele wins it. I think he does win it. Bring back your star boy, Rashford. Listen, I think let's credit Rashford for the 2 goals. The header was great. The second goal was even better. But when we start saying bringing him back, these are the mistakes that Man United have made all too familiar in the past, And for me, if do I see Barcelona signing Rashford? I don't think they sign him. But him coming back to Man United, again, his wage is too high and they're going to probably look to try and move him on. So who knows, man? Who knows? So what do you think will happen? Will Liverpool win it again? I believe we got depth and Salah is leaving in December for AFCON with Egypt. Yeah, I hear that. But as I said, I think I'm still going to say Man City are going to have a say in this title race. I'm still going to say they're going to be up there. I know they haven't started off too well, but there's still a lot of games to go. So yeah, I'm going to say Man City are still going to be up there. I think personally, it's going to be between Man City and Liverpool. I think at this moment in time, don't look at the league table too much. There's only 5 games in. I think when it starts hitting 15 games, I think that's when it's going to kind of take shape, the Premier League. So, But yeah, Salah will be going to AFCON. But again, they've got Ekatike, they've got Isak, they've got Gakpo, obviously Rio, and Gamoa as well. Will probably get more game time. They've got options, put it that way. So, and again, Salah hasn't been great this season. He hasn't been great. So, again, who's to say that they might play better when Salah's not there? Jeremy Frimpong can play as a winger as well. So we need Xerxes behind Sesko. I disagree. The fact that people think Xerxes is not a nine is mad, and people are only thinking that because of this system. Xerxes is a striker. Listen, Xerxes and Sesko as the two options. I'm happy with, because from what I've seen of Sesko, I think Sesko's is decent. I do. But for me, Xerxes should be the main number nine, the focal point of the attack, because he's going to facilitate the attack for Mbeumo and for Cunha. Now, if you've got Sesko that can come on, if the game's not going in United's favour, or if you want to change things, fair enough. But when people start saying Xerxes in behind Sesko, nah, it shouldn't be that. At the end of the day, this system is making people think that should happen. Because if you play a 4-2-3-1, you can place Xerxes in the 10 and then play Sesko as a 9 if you wanted to. Or you just place Xerxes in the 9, play Ahmad as a 10, and then you got Sesko that can come on and change the game if need be. But this whole Xerxes in behind Sesko, people are only saying that because of the actual formation, which is why this manager, once he's gone, this formation has to go as well, which it will. Big up to Sportology as well for coming through. Ballon d'Or shouldn't be decided by numbers and GA, but decided by best players like technical and GA. Big up to WXMF, and I 100% agree. Again, it's your first time on my channel, yeah? And a lot of people that's been on here before would know that I'm someone that doesn't really care about GA. For me, GA's ruined the game, because you're getting people now getting talked into conversations that they shouldn't be in because of numbers, And this is where football's gone, unfortunately. So for me, I don't really care about numbers, but I think the way the Ballon d'Or is going to be decided is because Dembele won Champions League and had numbers, that puts it in his favour. Because for me, it should be based on the actual best player. And the actual best player for me is Lamine Yamal. But Dembele is going to be in the shout because of numbers and the Champions League. And Dembele is a very good footballer as well. But the numbers conversation is why he's going to be up there. Because if you look at Rafinha as well, Rafinha's had a very good season, but his numbers were insane in terms of GA. So he's going to be in the conversation. But I agree with you. The Ballon d'Or should just be dictated by the best player, not by numbers. I agree. So Rashford needs at least 20 goals for him to be considered a good loan spell. Not necessarily. If Rashford doesn't get many numbers but contributes to Barcelona winning the Champions League and the league title, they're not going to care about his numbers. So again, man, it's not solely about numbers that Rashford has to get. If he contributes in a way where he actually is instrumental in whether he's creating or or getting a winner or something like that in tight games, I'm pretty sure Barca would much prefer that than him getting 20 goals and then them not winning anything. Aesthetic says, do you agree that Bayern is the best team in Bundesliga? Yeah, of course they are. They've got the best players. Harry Kane, Musiala, who's out injured, Michael Olise, what a player he is. Kimmich, Neuer in goal. Yeah, they've got the best collective team, definitely. And they'll win the Bundesliga this season. They'll win it this season. Bamboo says Sesko has been kind of underwhelming. Big up to Bamboo. Bamboo, I didn't want Sesko in the first place, personally, I didn't want him. But the fact that he came in and Højlund went out, it's an even better signing for me. And from what I've seen of Sesko, I think from what I've seen so far of him, he's actually done well with the limited opportunities that he's had. But for me, Joshua Xerxes should be the main 9. I don't care what anyone says. Xerxes should be the 9, and then Sesko and him should be rotating, if anything. But Xerxes should be given that starting number 9 berth for me. Definitely. Man United need a ball-winning midfielder and a deep-lying playmaker. in that midfield. The rest of the team is good. Just shift it to a 4 at the back, and Man United can finish top 6, maybe even top 4. Big up to Sportology. I think top 4 is more tough. I think top 6 definitely. But again, that's going to have to be done with a change of manager and a change of system. So the 4 at the back, 100%, man. I agree with that. I do agree with that. If you could only have one of Xerxes or Ekatike, who are you taking? Great question. And this might surprise you, Broderick, yeah? But I'm going to say Joshua Xerxes. I don't think people realize how good Xerxes is. Xerxes is he's being made to look like an average player because of this system and because of his previous managers. You know, he's had Ten Hag, who doesn't really like ball players, and then now you've got Amorim. If you play Joshua Xerxes in a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3, where he's got runners around him and he can hold the ball up and use his skill and ability, you'll see what a player he is. Because Xerxes is someone that can play for Liverpool. People might not think that, yeah. But Xerxes' ability, he is good enough to play for Liverpool. He is, you know. So I like Ekatike. I think he's very good, Ekatike. But I'm taking Joshua Xerxes because he's a top player that's just been stifled, like many other players, by this manager and this system. So they need Baleba and like Douglas Luiz or someone. Yeah, listen, we've been saying that for time, man. Baleba's the main target in midfield. You know, I've wanted Baleba for, you know, since last season. You know, Baleba for me is left-footed, which adds balance to that midfield. You know, he's tenacious. You know, he's good in possession. So, yeah, he ticks all the boxes. I mean, people are looking at him now as someone that's not playing too well for Brighton. Maybe his head's been turned. Who knows? But Man United need to act on him in January, you know. But I'm hoping that's under a new manager. But he's a club signing, so I'm guessing they'll still be in for him anyway. Right, guys, I'm gonna go through a few more of your chats before I wrap up. Big up yourselves. Xerxes is a good false 9. He will be so good with a system playing actual wingers. But again, Sportology, if you play Xerxes in the false 9 and you've got Mbeumo and Cunha, who are both wide forwards, this is why it's gonna work. Because he facilitates for the wide forwards. You know, and this is what people are not actually realizing. If you've got a number 9, like a false 9 like him, Xerxes doesn't have to get 20 or 30 goals because the goals will come from out wide. But what Xerxes would do is chip in with his assists and goals, but be the facilitator for the wide forwards. And this is why it will work even better. So people need to need to actually realize that how good Xerxes, what a player he is. And as Sportology says, he's an Ivan Toney, Dutch Ivan Toney. There you go. There you go. He's a top player, man. He's a top player. And the fact that he's not getting used in this under this manager is criminal, you know. And this is why, for me, the quicker this manager goes, the better. Because the next manager that comes in, I'm confident uses Joshua Xerxes. I'm confident. If you're a footballing coach, you're going to use Joshua Xerxes. It's as simple as that. But guys, listen up. Big up yourselves for coming on each and every time. If you haven't smashed the like button, make sure you do. We got 12 of you in it at the moment and 14 likes. Smash the like button if you haven't done so. Obviously helps the channel to grow. Big up to Sportology as well. And guys, if you're new in here, make sure you you sub to the channel if you're new. So, and make sure you check out my other content as well. And yeah, big up Broderick, man. Big up, bro. So yeah, as I said, I'm normally back tomorrow at 11:30. I'm not gonna promise anything, guys, because I might not be back, but usually I am live every morning at 11:30. So keep an eye on my schedule. Make sure your notifications are on. So yeah, hopefully be back tomorrow at 11:30. But if not, guys, I'll be back at 6 o'clock with Jonas as usual. Obviously, Jonas is a Liverpool fan, so we're gonna get into the Liverpool Merseyside derby talk. And obviously, we're going to touch on the Man United-Chelsea game as well. So, yeah, make sure you guys come through at 6 and give us your support as well. But as I said, yes, hopefully live tomorrow at 11:30. But if not, definitely live at 6 p.m. tomorrow. So, yeah, make sure you guys come through. And big up yourselves each and every time for contributing to the channel. And as I said, smash the like button on your way out. Sub to the channel if you're new. And, yeah, guys, big up. I'll catch you guys in a bit. Take it easy.